Halloween traces its origins back thousands of years to the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, celebrated in what is now Ireland, the United Kingdom, and parts of northern France. Samhain marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter, a time often associated with death and darkness. The Celts believed that on the night of October 31st, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred, allowing spirits to return to Earth. These spirits were thought to cause trouble and damage crops, but they also made it easier for druids, the Celtic priests, to make predictions about the future. The people relied on these prophecies during the long, dark winter. To commemorate the event, druids built huge, sacred bonfires, where people gathered to burn crops and animals as sacrifices to the Celtic deities. During the celebration, the Celts wore costumes, typically consisting of animal heads and skins, and attempted to tell each other's fortunes. When the Roman Empire conquered the majority of Celtic territory around 43 AD, two Roman festivals were combined with the traditional Celtic celebration of Samhain. The first was Feralia, a day in late October when the Romans commemorated the passing of the dead. The second was a day to honor Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruit and trees. The symbol of Pomona is the apple, and this incorporation likely explains the tradition of bobbing for apples that remains popular today during Halloween festivities. Over time, the fusion of Roman and Celtic customs evolved into a more complex observance that continued to honor both the dead and the bounty of the harvest. Centuries later, as Christianity spread throughout Celtic lands, the Church sought to replace pagan festivals with Christian observances. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as All Saints' Day, a time to honor saints and martyrs. It is widely believed that the Pope was attempting to replace the Celtic Festival of the Dead with a related, church-sanctioned holiday. The evening before All Saints' Day became known as All Hallows' Eve, which later evolved into Halloween. By the 9th century, Christianity had spread deeply into Celtic territory, and the older pagan customs began to merge with Christian traditions. November 2nd was soon added as All Souls' Day, a day to honor all the faithful departed. Celebrations for All Souls' Day were similar to Samhain, featuring bonfires, parades, and dressing up as saints, angels, and devils. The three celebrations, All Hallows' Eve, All Saints' Day, and All Souls' Day, collectively became known as Hallowtide, a period dedicated to remembering the dead. As the centuries passed, Halloween continued to evolve in different parts of Europe. In medieval England, people began the tradition of souling, in which the poor would go door to door offering prayers for the dead in exchange for food or money. They were often given small cakes known as soul cakes. Children later took up the practice, turning it into a forerunner of modern trick-or-treating. Another related custom was guising, which originated in Scotland and Ireland. Young people dressed in costumes and went from house to house, carrying lanterns made of hollowed-out turnips, reciting songs or verses in exchange for treats. These early traditions laid the groundwork for many of the Halloween customs that survive today. When Irish and Scottish immigrants came to North America in the 19th century, they brought their Halloween customs with them. In the United States, Halloween gradually transformed from a somber, superstitious holiday into a more community-centered celebration. By the late 1800s, there was a movement to make Halloween a holiday more about neighborhood gatherings and games than about ghosts and witchcraft. Parties for both children and adults became the most common way to celebrate, featuring food, games, and festive costumes. During this period, the custom of carving lanterns also evolved. Instead of turnips, which were commonly used in Europe, Americans began using pumpkins, which were larger and easier to carve. The pumpkin became one of Halloween's most recognizable symbols, with the carved jack-o'-lantern representing both light and mischief. The 20th century brought further transformation to Halloween. In the early decades, the holiday continued to blend elements of folklore, harvest celebrations, and local customs. Trick-or-treating became widely popular during the 1930s and 1940s. The practice had its roots in the older European traditions of souling and guising, but became distinctively American. Communities promoted trick-or-treating as a safe and fun activity for children, reducing the vandalism that had become common on Halloween night. Children would dress in costumes and go door to door, calling out trick or treat, receiving candy or other small treats from neighbors. By the 1950s, Halloween had become a major celebration across the United States, with schools, churches, and communities hosting costume parades and parties. The holiday's focus shifted further toward children, though adults continued to participate through parties and decorations. As Halloween became embedded in American popular culture, it also grew into a significant commercial holiday. The production of costumes, decorations, and candy turned it into a multi-billion-dollar industry. By the late 20th century, Halloween was second only to Christmas in terms of consumer spending. The imagery of Halloween, ghosts, witches, black cats, skeletons, bats, and haunted houses became deeply tied to both ancient folklore and modern entertainment. Horror films, beginning with early classics such as Frankenstein and Dracula in 1930s and continuing through to slasher movies like Halloween in 1978, helped reinforce the holiday's association with fear, suspense, and the supernatural. Television specials, such as It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, further popularized Halloween traditions for new generations. Despite its commercialization, Halloween retains deep cultural and symbolic meanings. It serves as a time to confront the unknown, to mock fear, and to explore the boundary between life and death in a playful way. In many cultures, similar festivals continue to honor the dead during the same period. In Mexico, for example, Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead, celebrates departed loved ones with colorful altars, offerings, and parades. In some ways, these celebrations share a common origin with Samhain, emphasizing remembrance and the continuity between the living and the dead. Across the world, Halloween's themes of transformation, disguise, and mystery resonate with people of all ages and backgrounds. In the 21st century, Halloween has become a global phenomenon. Many countries outside the English-speaking world have adopted the holiday, often blending it with their own customs. In Japan, massive Halloween parades draw thousands of costume participants, while in parts of Europe and Latin America, Halloween events combine elements of traditional folklore and modern pop culture. Social media and global entertainment have helped spread Halloween imagery, making pumpkins, costumes, and haunted houses familiar sights worldwide. Yet in regions where the holiday was not historically celebrated, its adoption sometimes sparks debate about cultural influence and commercialization. Nonetheless, the core appeal of Halloween, the thrill of the eerie and the joy of imagination, continues to attract people across cultures. At its heart, Halloween remains a night of transformation, rooted in ancient human experiences with the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. From its beginnings as the Celtic festival of Samhain, through its adaptation by the Roman and Christian worlds, and its evolution into a modern global celebration, Halloween has continually reflected humanity's fascination with the supernatural. It is a festival that allows people to face their fears, to laugh at them, and to find meaning in the unknown. Whether marked by the flicker of a jack-o'-lantern, the laughter of children collecting candy, or the eerie glow of haunted house decorations, Halloween endures as a bridge between the living and the dead, the ancient and the modern, the sacred and the playful. Its story is one of transformation, a reflection of how cultures change, merge, and create new traditions while keeping the echoes of the past alive.